Well, hello. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on where we are with our youth ministry and ask for your help and input, really, to help us decide what we are going to do next. First of all, I'd like to paint you a picture that's found in the Bible. It's a story in Mark chapter 2 of this man who is paralyzed but can't get to Jesus for help. So his friends, they take him onto the roof, they break a hole in the roof and lower the man in so that he can see Jesus. I wonder where you see yourself in that story. Maybe you're a parent or just a part of our church listening to this. Because we're asked if we are the crowd. Are we the people there waiting to see Jesus? Are we the paralyzed man who, we really want to see Jesus, but there's something holding us back? Are we the friends who are helping that person who's a bit out of touch, who can't make it by themselves to get to Jesus? I wonder where young people fit in this story. Because in my mind, there are so many barriers and obstacles to young people engaging in faith or even just in church. You all have experienced this yourself probably in some form or another, either as a young person or as a parent. So I want you to have this in mind as we explore where we're at with our youth ministry and where we might be going next. But first of all, I want to ask the question, why should we even bother with youth ministry? Obviously, I think it's really important. I hope you think it's important as well, but I wanted to paint a more national picture of where the Church of England is at the moment. At the General Synod meeting last June, the Church of England laid out that one of its 3 strategic priorities is to be a church that is younger and more diverse. And they shared the statistics that an 80-year-old is 8 times more likely to be in church than a 20-year-old. That's a massive difference. The decline of under 16s is twice as fast as the decline of adults. I know that as St Giles and St George's Ashtead, we are halfly proportionate in the number of under 50s. Those are not really words, but basically we have half the number of under 50s that we should have compared to the demographic of the area we live in. Only 10% of churches are doing anything with young people at all. And that there are 50 churches with the largest number of under 16s make up 40% of all the under 16s in the Church of England. So a small number of churches have a large percentage of the young people. We are one of those churches. We are the 32nd biggest Church of England church in the country by number of under 16s. So that means there's quite a big responsibility on us. And whilst we have to think very broadly about our village that we live in, our big village of 15,000 people, we have to think about how we resource other people as well, those who aren't as blessed to have the resources that we have. So the Church of England is behind it, the National Church is behind it. But where do young people come to faith to start with? Where should we be looking? Well, there are 2 pieces of research that came out recently. There's the Talking Jesus report that was an alliance between Alpha, the Evangelical Alliance, Hope Together, the Louis Palau Association and Kingsgate Community Church. And it talks about how people come to faith, both young and old. There's an interesting part for me in this. Part 4, you can look it up online, I'll drop the link in here, that 34% of practicing Christians say that growing up in a Christian family was the top influence in bringing them to faith. That was the highest percentage that was listed. So we know that family is really important to faith. So where does family fit into our youth ministry? We'll ask you about that later. 24% of people say that reading the Bible was a key influence and that was particularly important among 18 to 24s. So reading the Bible was key. Other key influences in someone's journey to faith were regular church services, spiritual experiences, and conversations with other people about faith. Most practicing Christians come to faith before the age of 18, 76% in fact, but 41% leave by the same age. So the under 18s is a crucial time to introduce Jesus to people and a crucial time to stop people from becoming disillusioned or falling out of faith entirely. Second piece of research is called Peer-to-Peer, Youth Evangelism and Influence, and is a partnership between Alpha, Church Army, Church of England, Hope Together, Scripture Union, Youth for Christ and Youthscape. And it specifically spoke to young people and youth leaders regarding the methods of peer-to-peer evangelism and outreach amongst teenagers. And the big influences that came out of this were 38% of people said that other Christians had a big influence on them coming to faith. 35% of young people said that they were willing to make an invite, and that invite will most likely, at 78%, be to church, but not to a youth club or a drop-in. So the place of drop-ins and youth clubs within church is perhaps declining or isn't as important as it used to be, when the core method of evangelism is in fact young people inviting their friends to something that is normal, to a form of church community. However, what this research also revealed is that young people have a lot of tough questions and they want to be equipped to talk about their faith. So last summer we made the decision to move to a single evening gathering after doing bits and bobs throughout COVID. And there are a few reasons for that. It gives us a safe place to come back to. It's not the safe bet though. Doing something all together was changing something, it was starting something new, so it wasn't a safe bet. But it has allowed us to build a strong core of young people. People who are committed, who come at least every month, every 2 weeks perhaps. And there are over 50 young people who do that at the moment, which is fantastic. And that's across our 11 to 18s. But ever since then, we've been asking, well, what might God be calling us to do? I think there are 4 kind of areas of where people can sit in church. There's the core, people who come a lot. There are the fringe of those who maybe come occasionally. There are the disengaged, people who came before but maybe don't anymore, and the new. And I know that you might be reading this and go, oh, I know a young person who fits into one of these categories. It's not their fault, it's not our fault, it's been a really, really weird couple of years, and everyone has their own personal journey of faith. But 2 of the areas I think we need to work on, first of all, is our discipleship. So I shared a moment ago that people want to be equipped to be able to share faith with their friends and to answer the tough questions. And that particularly applies to people who are on the core and the fringe. So our current house group structures serve young people well, but they're all very different due to kind of variations in the size and social makeup of the year groups. And I believe that small groups are particularly important for young people going forward. But we need to look at how we do those small groups, how we can build community within those small groups, and what the right size is for those small groups. Currently, I believe that the sweet spot we need to look at is in particular the kind of people in what I would call the intimate space. So those with about 2, 3, 4 people at most with, say, a leader alongside them. They could be part of bigger groups that exist in this personal space, that exists alongside our social space, our public space, and then also our divine space, which is also where discipleship sits. There are big questions of how we could group our young people by school, by similar interests, by clubs. We have to ask the question as well as how faith at home fits in. Like I said, family is really important, and how we can resource you as parents. The second area alongside discipleship is evangelism, and that's how we reach those who are on the fringe, disengaged, and new. And with the exception of a few invitational socials, youth ministry doesn't have a prominent place in the eyes of the community. It's a great community. We've got Scouts, we've got the football club next door, we've got Ashtead Youth Club next door, the cricket club attracts lots of young people. Lots is going on. So how can we improve our visibility and make people go, wow, the youth at St Giles and St George's is a really great place to be, and they really love young people in Ashtead. So we need to look at our invitational socials, how we serve our community, and how we build our reputation. So I have a couple of questions for you, and I'm going to drop a link now so you can share your thoughts on this. Fill in as many points as you can, give as many ideas and feedback as you can. It is anonymous, apart from me asking you to select whether you're a parent, a young person, or somebody else. And the questions are this: what are the unique things that our church can offer young people? What can we offer that people in Ashtead aren't already doing? More than just a social space or something to do. What's the unique thing? What role do or should families play in this? And how can we communicate and coordinate together? Not to make sure that we're not duplicating work, but so we can work together and be coordinated on how we're bringing up young people in faith. What would it look like for young people to lead the church? To lead the church. Not to lead in church, not to lead services, but to lead the church. A small question about whether everything should be on site. What are the future online or digital opportunities, or maybe there are opportunities out and about in the local area as well. What are the barriers to people engaging with the youth community? And how can we change to be more accommodating? And finally, where should the youth minister's time be focused? What should I be spending my time on in the next season? So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. I hope you can fill in as much of this as you can. We're going to leave it open for a while, but we really would love to make decisions over the summer and to come back to you with plans as soon as possible. So thank you for listening.